and welcome to this, our mobility session. This is a session designed to stretch out the hips, the back and the shoulders especially, although it will work for other parts of the body as well. It would be great if you do this after some sort of physical exercise such as jogging, running, cycling, going to the gym at home, or perhaps doing the gardening. But it can be used as a standalone session as well, so you can use it just to keep the body moving and the body active, because at this time where we might be shut at home slightly more than we would normally, it's going to be really important to keep our whole body mobile, especially through those hips, because we might be doing just a little bit more sitting than we used to. Okay. So what we're going to need is a mat or something soft to lie on. We're going to need a towel rolled up to put the head on, and we're going to need some water. Throughout this session, I'm going to be showing exercises that perhaps involve us being on our wrists. If that doesn't work for you, you can try coming up on the knuckles or maybe try the forearms. But the key to all of this is if it doesn't work for you, don't do that particular stretch, or at least don't do it as far as I'm showing here. The fun thing about mobility is we can gradually get better over time, but we don't need to push it in every individual session. Just go to the limit of what is comfortable for you, under control today. Now when we start, one thing is imperative, that you must be warm. So if you've done some exercise just beforehand, absolutely brilliant, come down on the mat. If you haven't done any exercise and this is your session for the day, then take a minute to make sure the room is nice and warm, and also make sure that you're warm as well. By walking around the room, walking a little bit vigorously on the spot, getting slightly breathless, and getting those muscles warmer so that we're not starting from completely cold. And when you're ready, let's go. Okay, first exercise is for the shoulders and for the chest. So we're going to lay down with our head propped. I've got my head on a block, but it can be on a rolled towel or even just on the floor. Knees and ankles together. And we're going to do a chest stretch, but round the top of the head. So here we go with the top arm, reaching as far as we can go, opening out, feeling that chest in the stretch, and coming back round. Twice more. Open up. Feel the stretch across the chest, keep the ankles and knees together, and back round. And last time this side, open up, stretch through that chest, try and get that shoulder on the ground and come back round. Now I'm going to change direction, you can just roll over. The thing with all these exercises is do them at your own speed. If you like an exercise and it's working for you, stop the tape, do it a little bit more. Do it slower, do it faster. Okay, knees and ankles together. Off we go again, really reach, stretching round, open up through the chest, come back round, feel that stretch also moving in the middle and upper back, stretching round and reach, and coming back. Last time this side, so stretching out, reaching high, opening up through that chest, holding the knees together, and back and round. Excellent. Right, we don't need this block anymore for the time being. So we are coming back onto the mat. We are kneeling wide, so my knees are at around mat width apart. We are going to do child's pose to cobra, which will be for the shoulders and the hips. So first of all, kneeling wide, I'm going to reach and crawl my fingertips forward, while just dropping down into my shoulders. So you should feel a stretch now through those shoulders underneath the arms. My back is flexed. Now if I come forward onto my wrists and lengthen through, I'm now extending from the crown of my head to my coccyx and my knees. Come back again and just keep This motion flowing, moving the hips, getting the hips moving, don't drop them too far. This is an extension rather than an arch. And if you want to add on, tuck the toes under and stretch long. So go from flexion to extension. So this is working in both the shoulders and in the hips too. Right, 3 more. And 2, really stretch. Last one. Great, now stay here on all 4s. We're going to move under control as we thread the needle. So I'm going to take one arm, I'm going to reach through as far as I can, I let my hips go and I come back up. So another 5 times, let those hips move with you under control. 3, and reach as far as you can. 4, 5, and we do 6 in total. And now the other side, so it's all about the middle back here. The middle back is reaching and my hips are moving as well, but just slightly. That's 3, reach long, and 5, and 6. Excellent. Now from here, stay in all 4s. We're going to mobilise the hip joint itself with its 27 muscles holding it together. So weight slightly onto one leg as I keep this leg bent and draw as big a circles as I can 5 ways, or 5 times round, sorry, clockwise first of all. As big a circle, keeping that leg bent. And 5, now back the other way. 1. Doesn't matter if the hips move a little bit, we're trying to get as big a circle as works for you. And 4, and 5. Excellent, keep the leg bent, do the other side. So the same thing, as big a circle as works for you. You can of course do much more than 5. This is a great exercise, but I would say make sure that you don't arch the back. The hips can move, but don't arch the back. So here we come, back again the other way. 2, and 3, 4, last one coming through, and 5. Great work. Last one on all 4s for now. We're going to put our leg out the side. So my foot is flat on the floor, my heel is approximately opposite my knee, this knee here. What I'm going to do is come down low, reach out the front, and I'm going to pull back. So I'm going to rock back, keeping my spine neutral, so I'm not arching, I'm not hunching, keeping my spine neutral, and I'm feeling it in my adductors, the inner thighs of the extended leg. So just go as far as is comfortable. 3, and 2, and 1. And now we're going to do the same thing the other side. So leg comes out, foot flat on the floor, toes pointing forwards, and we rock back. Rocking back. And you should feel it pulling in the inner thigh of the extended leg. 2 more. 5, and 6. Excellent. As I say, at any time if you want to do more, stop the tape, do more. We're moving on to a seated position now. This stretch is another one carrying on for the inner thighs. It's called the butterfly stretch. Come up tall, bring the soles of the feet together. Now the nearer the heels are to the body, the more intense the stretch. So if you have your feet out here, not so intense. Bring the heels to the body, more intense. Now let your knees fall out naturally to the sides, and now just pulse gently. Don't force the knees down when you pulse, we're just actively moving them. Now, whether your knees are on the floor or whether your knees are somewhere up around your ears, doesn't matter. That's just the way your body works. But just get that little bit of motion into where we are. So this is all about inner thighs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go. So that was inner thighs. What about if we want to start challenging from the external rotation that we've just done to internal rotation? So I'm just moving back a little bit on the mat. Support yourself with the hands. So we're leaning back on them slightly, get those shoulders down, feet flat on the floor. I'm going to drop my knees to the right hand side. So that is going to promote a twist. I'm internally rotating this top thigh. I can feel it in the outside of my thigh and I'm looking at my foot. So feel it there. And drop down again. Turn around to look at the heel of the back foot. And third time. Now the other way, so drop down to the left, drop down, feel it on the inside of the upper thigh, look at the back heel. Come back up. Drop down. Come back up. And last time, dropping down. And come back up. Just shake those legs off. We're going to add on now. Dropping down to the right hand side as we did the first time, I am going to just hinge over that front foot. So I'm now feeling a stretch in the piriformis muscle of my lower glute. So it's one of the smaller muscles. I'm sitting back up. I'm coming forward. Notice my back is still long. I'm hinging from the hips. And now I come up. Let's do the same the other side. So dropping round. I'm kind of turning round and I'm hinging forward over that front leg. Feeling it in my bottom glute, feeling that piriformis muscle stretching away and coming up. And down again. So just warming up the piriformis for the next exercise. Excellent work. Okay, so this is another exercise you may wish to skip or modify if you're not great with weight on the hands. So we're coming up to a downward pike or downward dog for the yoga people. So great position, great for the whole body, fantastic for the shoulders, good for the hips and great for the calves. So altogether, a very, very good position. We're going to come from here and we're going to come forward and I'm going to bring my knee just into a pigeon position for those of you that do yoga, but it is a bent sideways on for those that don't. And I'm going to hinge forward and again feel a slightly greater stretch in that piriformis. So come from here, come up, other leg, down, hinge, stretch. We're going to speed it up a little bit now and do 2 more either side. So here we go. Forward, hinge, up, into the pike. Second leg comes forward into that pigeon, hinge over, stretch the piriformis muscle, come up. 1 more either side now. Down we come, hinge forward, you don't need to hinge, and you can leave the knee on the floor or stretch it long. Up we go, last one. Hinge and forward. Excellent, so that has stretched the piriformis, one of the smaller muscles in the glutes. Let's just do a little bit for the back now. Coming back onto all fours, we are going to do a standard cat and cow. So cat is we engage the core, drop the chin towards the chest and arch the back. Then we either come back to neutral, which is a long spine with the greatest distance between my coccyx and my head, or if it works for you, just drop slightly so you're arching the hips into the air. Doesn't matter which one works. Good. Go for cat, cow. So see now what rhythm works for you. Engage that core, pull the shoulders back, don't let them come up around your ears. We're going to do 3 more. 3 and 2 and 1. Great. So that was flexion and extension of the spine. Specifically, it seemed to work on the lower back, but also the middle back as well. Now, the lower back also goes in a different direction. Reset in the kneeling position. What if I try and move my right hip up towards my right shoulder? I do what I call a hip hike. So up as the shoulder comes down, I'm moving my hip towards it. And to the left. So looking in the direction that you're going. So I'm looking right towards my right hip as I bring it up and left. So I'm effectively a dog wagging my tail. Think of it wagging your tail, moving the hips left and right. This is all about the lumbar spine and the lower back. Let's do 2 more. 1 and 2. Excellent. From here, we're going to come up into a kneeling, 1 leg kneeling position to work the hip flexors. So I have got 1 knee on the floor, 1 leg or 1 knee up and out the front. I am going to push the hips forward, but without arching my back. I'm going to keep my spine neutral, just come forward and feel the stretch up the front of the leg, up high at hip level in the hip flexors. So feel that stretch, work through it. Now I'm going to lift my arm up, the same arm of the leg that's down, lift up. My arm might disappear, but I'm lifting it right up towards the ceiling and hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Now come back up, bring the arms out to a T position. And now rotate over this top leg and pulse for 3. So 1, 2, 3, and back. Great work. We'll do the same at the other side. So first of all, get that stretch in the hip flexors, pushing the hips forward, keeping the spine neutral. Once you've got that stretch, arm up and really stretch up. It works the obliques and is working through the hip flexors as well. So hold here, 2, 1, and now arms out to the side in T position, and we're going to rotate with those 3 pulses over the raised leg. So 1, 2, 3, and back. Excellent. From here back into downwards pike position with the feet about hip width apart. First thing we're going to do is paddle. So pushing single heels, each heel alternately down into the mat to stretch those calves. Remember, the hips are high, so keeping those hips high. Spine is long and neutral. From here, I'm going to bring my foot up and bring it to the outside of my hand. If that doesn't work for you, just bring it slightly up here, doesn't matter. I'm in a full Spider-Man position, go for 5 pulses. Open up those hips, absolutely brilliant one for the hips. Come back up, 5 paddles, and 5 pulses. 3, 4, 5, and paddle. We're going to do it twice more either side. This is such an excellent exercise for opening up the hips. And when you come down, don't be afraid. It's about the only time I'll say drop the hips down, because we're stretching through the hip flexors and opening up the pelvic girdle. Last time either side, so dropping and pulsing gently. Coming up, pushing those heels down. And just pulsing for 5 at the other side. Brilliant. From here, down onto the knees. We're going to sit on our heels. The reason we're doing that is it fixes our hips. So the hips are now fixed in place by the heels. I am going to put both hands on the floor and I'm going to do that cat-cow again. This time my lumbar spine, my lower back, is slightly impeded, so the cat-cow will work more in the middle spine, the thoracic spine. So here we go from here, shoulders down, drop the chin to the chest, engage the core, arch the middle back and lengthen. So think about just the middle and upper back moving. Pull those shoulders away from the ears. This is really quite strong on the core, but focus that middle back moving as much as possible. 2 more. So the middle back tends not to move that much this direction, but where it does move is rotationally. So here we go. One hand on the floor, other hand behind the head. I'm going to touch elbow to elbow and I'm going to open out as much as I can. I'm going to do that another 5 times, so 6 in total. So here we go with the rotational mobility of that middle spine. Lower spine's not really moving that much because the hips are fixed. 3, halfway, and 4, 5, and 6. I'll do the same thing with the other side. So down we go. And open up. 2. See if you can stretch just a little bit further each time. And of course, do more of these if you want to. 1 more. Excellent. So we are now going onto our backs for a series that are going to work the hips, the glutes and the side of the legs. Using the same leg each time, 3 separate exercises, then we do the other leg. So the first one is a glute and outer thigh stretch. So I have got one ankle over the other knee and I am pulsing this raised knee away from and towards my body. So I'm just loosely and gently pulsing it without forcing it. And what you should feel is maybe something in your inner thigh and maybe something in the outer thigh and glute area as well. However, it may not be that strong. So initially, take the hand of the knee that's pulsing, put it just below the knee. Now, bring that knee towards you, towards your body, and resist it with this hand. Engage the core and really pull that knee this way towards me, and you should now feel a pull in your inner thigh. Push against it with that hand for 3, for 2, for 1. Now release that, lift up this supporting leg, grab through the legs and just pull that knee towards you. If you want to, bring the head and shoulders off the mat as well, and you should now feel a greater stretch just down the outside of the thigh and into the glute. If you want to lightly pulse this supporting knee towards you, then do so gently. Just remember your range of motion and your speed. Excellent, so that is the outer part of the thigh. Now, from this position, completely cross one leg over the other as though we were just having a nice sunny picnic on a sunny afternoon. So nice and relaxed. Now bring both knees towards you. Okay, what we're doing here is bringing the knees up to the chest bone, lifting my head and shoulders to meet the knees, and we're actually stretching the glutes, the piriformis muscle again. If you don't feel much of a stretch down the thigh of the knee that's nearest to you, roll slightly towards this near foot. So if your near foot is pointing to the left, roll to the left, and you should feel a greater stretch in this muscle. So roll over and basically move till you feel that stretch. It's a different muscle in the glute. Roll and release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Great work. Now dropping the knees here, we are going to do a halfway house with the leg. This time I'm crossing the calf over. So not right the knee, not the ankle, it's the calf. And I'm going to drop in the direction away from my feet. So I'm going to roll my hips, let my knees drop to the side, and I'm going to drop down. And what I've got is a stretch in the other thigh. It's all the way down the outer thigh of basically the other thigh that we've just been stretching. So you should feel it from the top of the thigh, right down the outside of the leg, maybe to the outside of the knee. This is the tensor fasciae lata and the IT band coming down here. So my top leg is pinning down, so my bottom leg is pinning down the top leg. Hold that, breathe into it, and the only thing to watch with this stretch is that your lower back isn't arching. Sometimes you want to arch away from it. Just relax and don't arch that back. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1, and now come back up. And we're going to do those same 3 moves the other side of the body. So using the other leg, ankle over knee, and start pulsing that free knee to and fro, away from and towards the body. So just relax, you feel it slightly in the inner thigh and slightly in the outer thigh and glutes. Last 3, then take the hand of the knee that's pulsing, place it just below the knee, engage that core and bring that raised knee towards the body as you resist with the hands, and feel it now stretching through that inner thigh as you really pull that knee towards you. Hold for 2, for 1, and release. Now reach through the legs, bring that supporting knee towards you, and just gently pulse that supporting knee. So we're now stretching in the outer thigh and the glute. So this is the gluteus maximus and the outer thigh muscles. 3, 2, 1. Now fully cross that leg over, just relax. And now bring the knees up towards the chest bone, grab onto the shins, lift the head and shoulders off the mat if you want to, and start almost trying to put chin to knee. If you can't feel this in the thigh or in the glute of the knee that's nearest to you, roll towards that upwards foot and roll away till you feel that stretch in the glutes. And release. Stretch and hug those knees to you. Release. And 3rd time. Stretch and hug and release. Knees down. Last one is this leg in the halfway house position. This is where we stretch the other leg again. So I'm now dropping away from my foot, dropping down. I'm not arching my lower back. And I'm finding that my upper leg is now pinned down by my lower leg. So the stretch I feel is dictated by how hard I pin down my leg, and I feel it in my outer thigh, either side of my hip bone, running all the way down towards my knee. So hold it there, breathe into it, make sure that back isn't arching, and hold for 3, for 2, for 1, and release. Great work, just shake the legs out. We are coming onto our fronts. The first thing we're doing is the final exercise, or final 2 exercises for the shoulders. First one is in a press-up position with long arms, but on my knees. So make sure you've got a relatively straight line between shoulders, hips and knees. Now, keeping the arms away or keeping the hands pointing to the front, rotate the forearms so that the creases of the elbows are facing each other, so that if you were going to do a press up, you've got the creases pointing towards each other. But we're not going to do a full press up. What we're going to do is just keeping the arms long, is drop my body through my shoulders. So effectively, I'm now squeezing my shoulder blades together, keeping the creases pointing towards each other, and push back up, and my shoulder blades slide apart. And down again. So this is called a scapular press up. It's for the shoulder blades, and just concentrate on the shoulder blades being isolated. They're the only thing that's moving. And as you come up, they slide over the ribs apart. As you go down, the shoulder blades slide over the back of the ribs and come together. Squeeze them together and up. The last 2 times. Squeeze and push up. And squeeze and push up. Now from here, we're going to work those shoulders again. A similar motion, but we're going to protract and retract. So engaging the core, laying flat on the floor, stretch the arms out the front, and now come back into a W and squeeze the elbows towards the body, shoulder blades together. So reaching out, squeeze those shoulder blades together, head and chest may come off the floor. Twice more. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, and last time, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Excellent. Now from here, just put the hands loosely on the floor, rest the chin on your hands, shoulders away from the ears. So we're going to do a final mobilization for the hips. It's the scorpion. So I'm going to lift from the hip, my right leg up straight. I'm going to roll my hips over to the left. As I bend my knee, I tap my foot as far away as I can from the body, opening up my hips and stretching my hip flexors. And now I roll back down and gently put my leg on the ground. Same thing with the left leg. Extend the left leg from the hip. Roll the hips to the right. Tap the foot on the floor. Make sure you're not arching the back, please. Roll round and down. Once more either side. Most important not to arch that lower back. So right leg up, rolling the hips to the left, tap down, coming round, down, down, and left leg up finally, rolling the hips to the right, tap as far away from the body as you can, stretch into those hip flexors, rolling round and down. Now from here, because we've just been rolling around the lower back, very last thing, coming onto our backs, arms out to the side, knees and feet together, just drop the knees to one side and feel the stretch in the lower back. So breathe into that stretch. Just feel the lower back relax as we push up with the lower leg and drop the knees the other side, keeping the shoulders on the floor. Breathe into that, and we go one more time either side. So push up with the lower leg, making sure that the lower back doesn't arch as we just drop the knees down. Feel the relaxation in the lower back and the spine. And the last time, over to that second side, keeping those shoulders on the floor, head and neck relaxed. 4. Fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed that session. I'll see you for the next one, but in the meantime, stay safe, take care, and keep well.